Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com. And now all over social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook and Rumble and YouTube. Be sure to look at us, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks to our sponsor for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free. Well, today, we got a special guest for you, a Renaissance woman. Mary, thanks for joining us on the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. We got a lot to talk about.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
Well, it's our Halloween show. Halloween is coming up. This is Halloween weekend. If you haven't made it out to Marina del Rey, there's a pretty exciting Halloween boat parade, the second annual boat parade coming up. Mary, are you in your Halloween costume?
Right now, I guess I should have put it on while I'm on the show, just to be in the spirit. But I promise I do have one, but not at the current moment.
All right. Well, I don't, I called you the Renaissance woman because you're an actor, you're in real estate, you're a producer and writer. But tonight, we're going to talk about you being a racer because I have actually never had somebody from the Wednesday night sponsored by Cal Yacht Club since the marina was open. It's an iconic Wednesday night race called the Sunset Series. And people from all over Southern California come to it at least a couple of times. And there's some regular racers that have been in it for decades. So how did you come to being a sailor? Did you grow up being a sailor? Or did a friend bring you on a boat and then you got the bug and now you're a championship crew member on a great boat?
Well, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and my uncle had a fishing boat on the lake, and he used to take the whole family out there, just be screaming across the water very quickly, and my grandmother and my mother would be so mad at him, but I was loving it, so I've kind of always loved boating. My family has a Sea Ray on Lake Erie currently, my dad and stepmom, and then I lived in Miami for 2 years, right across from the yacht club there. When I moved to LA, though, I was mostly in Beverly Hills and Silver Lake, but then 3 years ago I moved here to the marina and just completely fell in love with sailing, and that's where I will never leave, I think.
Well, marina's a wonderful place. I grew up as a little dinghy sailor and with the Scouts, and I loved being out on the water. When you're in the small boats, you see the dolphins. When you go out on your boat, what's the boat that you race on Wednesday nights?
I race on a Catalina 42 by the name of Starlight, helmed by Clive Fenton. And yes, we are cruising Class B boats. So we got out a little later than everybody else, but I love it. She's my girl. I love Starlight.
Wow. Do you have a regular crew, or do you have different people that come aboard? Because actually, Starlight, you guys kind of have a big crew. Yeah, what, 5 or 6 out there? I've seen you out there. How many on your...
Yeah, we sometimes we have, 4 or 5 people. Sometimes we have 8. We're a full crew at 8. And yeah, we've got I'd say a group of about 10 people that are pretty regular on it. Sometimes people can't make it on Wednesdays because of work or this or that or travel, and we keep a good spreadsheet and we all keep in good communication, and we always make it work somehow.
Wednesday night is exciting, and of course afterwards people go to Cal Yacht Club, which I've talked quite a bit about. But you know what? Before I forget, I want to plug our mutual friends in the real estate business. We've actually had quite a few people in Marina are in the real estate business, but you and I have, and you, I guess, do a lot of work for my good friend Zane. So let's talk about him real quick. So I give him a little airtime so I can tell him he owes me a favor, like a lunch.
Yes, he is absolutely wonderful. Zane's been in the real estate business for, almost 40 years now. He is an incredible realtor. I think I had mentioned that I also do contracts for other realtors, so I'm lucky to be on Zane's team doing his contracts, making sure all the paperwork's aligned, and he is just an absolute dream of a human being. And takes very, very good care of his clients for sure.
Yeah, and he's in Marina Del Rey and
Yeah.
lives there. He's got a new baby girl. And Zane is a wonderful guy. He's got a great real estate outfit. So you do the processing and the contracts? That's what you do? That's a hard job.
Well, I do contracts all across the west side of Los Angeles and other parts of LA too. I've been a licensed realtor for 20 years, and I just always loved the contract. So in about 2016, I converted my business to mostly doing that. I still do work with clients every year, friends and family, on referrals just from doing it for so long. I really love it. But yeah, it's been an honor to work with Zane.
Well, I'm not smart enough to do the contract. So it's good to know that that's what you do. Well, you know what? Before we go back to sailing and talking about boating, okay, I want to talk because you've got quite a resume. You do so many things. You do it's like I'm talking to three different people. So let's talk. Let's talk about you being a producer and a writer and an actor.
I don't really know what to say. Well, originally I was a Cleveland Ballet, part of a jazz company when I was a kid, so I'd always been on stage. And then I moved to LA, and it just didn't, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. I don't know, maybe I'm a small town girl from Ohio, but it took me a while to get into it, I guess you could say. So that's how I got into real estate, but then I decided I didn't want to give up real estate to go do acting, and so I kept doing both. And lo and behold, it just kind of worked out. I think it's extremely common for people in LA, especially those that are in the arts, to do a multitude of things. A lot of actors produce, a lot of writers, make art. I have a friend who's a doctor who's, visual artist too. Like, I don't know. I think maybe it's an evolution of our mankind of some sort. And it's just something I don't know. I kind of made my own life
Well,
in a weird sort of way.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's in our DNA when you're in Los Angeles. Marina Del Rey is a real special place. If you look at any of the movies from the 60s and 70s, although Gilligan's Island, that was out of Long Beach. And the myth was people thought it was Marina Del Rey, but it was actually out of Long Beach. But a lot of, when I grew up as a little kid, you would see all kinds of actors and all kinds of people in the production and producers. Very common to have boats out there, and they still do.
Yeah.
But you'll see, it's kind of amazing, actually, because Miami CSI, for a decade, did a lot of filming in Marina Del Rey. And that was Miami CSI. Wow. So I would actually recognize some of the docks and the boats. And then I would say, wait a second, that building doesn't belong behind that boat. You'd see the Miami skyline. I don't know how they do it. They make it so real. But they did a lot of the acting right there in Marina Del Rey. And I tell you, I actually loved it because I had my boats in the G Basin where Burton Chase Park is and Santa Monica Windjammers. I was part of the South Coast Corinthian Yacht Club, and there are dinghy sailors there. And whenever Miami CSI and a couple other productions would film, they would take up the parking lot because it was an inconvenience for the boaters, those of us that had boats right there on the dock, because we'd have to park around the corner or pay in the county lots. They would let us sit at the food trucks. And I'm going to tell you something. I want to be an actor or producer just to have lunch at the food trucks because they were serving lobster bisque soup and tri-tip. One time I was sitting there and there was a production going on, and some of the actors were sitting at the same food truck, and these guys were swearing. They go, how many days in a row can we have the same tri-tip and lobster sandwiches? And we were looking at each other. I wanted to yell at them and say, every day. But of course I didn't. So Marie, yeah, you watch old episodes of the 70s like Mannix or Rockford Files, and you will see Marina Del Rey. They filmed a lot of movies. You'll see scenes there going back to late 60s and the 70s and clear to the 80s. I'm not so sure about today because there's a big construction. They've redone Marina Del Rey in the last couple of years. It's a whole new place, and you're kind of lucky to be there. The real estate, of course, is sky high. Okay, let's go back to you racing. Let's talk about the Wednesday night races. What's it like to be on a crew? Do you guys practice Yeah, any other times, or how do they keep a crew together to, get the boat in the Wednesday night races and keep the crew happy and fed and coming out? What's it like being on the crew?
Well, I'd say it's just a general love of sailing that keeps us all together. Definitely, to your point, there is a camaraderie that we all have. Everybody thinks they're a comedian on our boat, so we're always clowning on each other. But yeah, we do work really hard. Everyone's willing to learn. There's no, getting hurt by anybody yelling at you. You're just in the middle of a race and you've got to be there and show up for each other. I feel like we all do that. I think that's a very common thread throughout all of the boats in the marina on a Wednesday night. But yeah, sometimes we do go out on the weekends to practice because it's a little hard to learn when you're, racing at 8 or 9 knots trying to win. Everyone's just doing a job, right? So, it's definitely been
8 or 9 knots. You guys go at 8 or 9 yachts because I have a Gary Mall Ranger and I raced a Cal 20 and a couple other Columbia, and we top out at about maybe 5 or with good wind 6 knots. So, but
we won the Channel Islands Harbor race last year going 11 knots.
Oh, my goodness. That's above hull speed. People don't know what hull speed is. There comes a point where the way the boats are designed, if you go faster than hull speed, you might start sinking like a submarine. So that is pretty amazing. You got to really know how to work the boat, keep your crew going, and keep all the sails and pointed in the right direction. What other races have you done with the boat? Again, is Starlight?
Starlight.
Excellent.
And the skipper is Clive Benson.
Excellent. So I'm going to put the pictures you sent me up, and then I'm going to root for you whenever I see you out there. But let's talk about some of the other races that you did, because the Wednesday night, sponsored by the Cal Yacht Club, been going on since the marina's been open, and it's just every Wednesday for how many years? Since I'm not sure. I think it started like 1966 or something. And
it's been going on for a very long time, yes. It's a time-honored tradition, and it is wonderful to be at Cal Yacht Club after the race to meet all the other sailors. I've met such incredible people, such talented racers, and just amazing, wonderful, interesting souls going there after the Wednesday night races.
Yeah, it really is exciting. Although it was expensive for me when I would race, I'd bring everybody to Cal Yacht Club, and I tell you, they would eat, and that's not a cheap place. The restaurant is fantastic. The food is spectacular. But boy, I tell you, my crew wanted to eat, or when I was on a crew, I was, happy to have the skipper. But okay, let's talk about some of the other races that you've done, with Starlight and the crew, or other boats you've been on.
Definitely love single race we've done because a lot of them have been very different. We did, and I believe it was February, the Palos Verdes race. So you go all the way out to that general area, and it's kind of like a diamond shape that you're tacking around. So that was very interesting. We did the Catalina race this year. Obviously, the Channel Islands race came in second this year. Last year we were first. This year we came in second, but that's okay. It was really, really fun. That is, other than Wednesdays, that's what we've done this year and last year. There are so many all the time. CYC puts a lot of them on. DRYC does. The Channel Islands Yacht Club does as well. There's a lot of different ones. And as you know, there's one coming up on Halloween that is a pursuit race. We won't be doing that because we have a lot of crew out of town, but I'm looking forward to going and watching that one.
Yeah, I'll be at the Halloween boat parade at night. But tell me about the Catalina race. Do you go around Catalina, or you to go to the Isthmus and back? What's the Catalina race?
The Catalina race is interesting because it's a 2-day race. For example, the Channel Islands race is only you motor up on Friday and you race back. For Catalina, you race there to Cat Harbor around the rock. Then you camp and everyone makes food and we have a big party, and then you wake up in the morning and you race all the way back to the marina as well. So it's upwind and downwind.
Oh, wow.
And it is exhausting, but it is so much fun.
I did that one once years ago. I can't remember who put that on. Do you remember the club that puts that on?
I believe that's a Berger Stein series, but it might be in conjunction with CYC as well. It might be DRYC and CYC together. A lot of the yacht clubs lately, well, it's not that I have that much knowledge or that many years on me here, but it seems that they partner up a lot together to make a race happen, which I think is wonderful.
Well, yeah, something I've talked about on my show quite a bit. Actually, Delray Yacht Club, I've had many of the people in the different races. I've talked about the Burger Stein races. As a matter of fact, I've got Dave Ross coming up. He's part of Delray Yacht Club, and they host the Christmas parade, and there's an organization that meets year-round. So he'll be coming on from Delray Yacht Club, and I've talked about the Burger Stein races. It's interesting that you talk about how the clubs work together to put on races. Up and down Southern California, there's different associations, and I have had people from the Association of Santa Monica Bay Yacht Club, the ASMBYC, and what they work with all the different clubs so that the clubs support each other and they try as hard as they can to promote each other's races so that they don't have the same races on the same day, and they have a nice little calendar. And every actually county, there's San Diego has the same kind of association, and so does Orange County and up in Santa Barbara. And they work with the different clubs. And in the ASMBYC, Association of Santa Monica Bay Yacht Clubs, King Harbor down in Redondo Beach, the clubs are all part of that. Everyone, all the clubs in Marina Del Rey, and Westlake Village. So Westlake Yacht Club, of course, it's a lake, and you're only allowed to have the small dinghies and no motors. Are you a dinghy sailor at all? Have you ever gone out on little dinghies like Lido 14s or the Lasers or any of those little ones?
I was out on a T-wall in Catalina just this past weekend for Buccaneers Days. I love it.
You know, last week we talked about Buccaneer Days because I didn't go, but the organizer of the Halloween boat parade, which is going on tonight in Marina Del Rey, you can watch it. You can still get your boat in if you go to the Halloween Halloween boat parade. But he was a sailor and a dinghy sailor, and he was at Buccaneer Days. And he didn't get to tell the story that he's a jokester, and he at one point was in the water because I think his dinghy flipped over when he was going to the dinghy dock. So I'm going to have him back on the boat to talk about that. I did that once many years ago. I was going from Catalina. I was in the the Isthmus, and I had a leak in the dinghy, and I didn't make it to shore. And I had a lot of people laughing at me. Finally, someone helped me and pulled me aboard their boat. There's so many boat stories. It's so much fun, and I do love Catalina. I'm going to have the new harbor master come on, and I've had the Visitors Bureau. Catalina is actually a wonderful place to be, and it's a wonderful island. So
yes. I'll send you some other pictures of all of us in our pirate gear. I didn't send you those, but I have tons of them. So
I want to do that. I'll tell you why it's so exciting to have you on. Because usually I talk to people that are organizers or part of yacht clubs, and a lot of people don't know that they can walk into any club, sight unseen, without a boat, not being a boater, and people will welcome them on their boats, and eventually, they'll be like you, excited to go out and regulars and turn into championship racers. Because from what I understand is that you're in demand. You could probably go to any race boat, and they would love to have you because people that learn quickly and people that are good at racing. Because I go out to have fun, and everybody I know tells me that's what they do. They go out to have fun. But guess what? We're all out there to win, and only when we win first or second do we admit it. But when we're third and on, we say, I'm just out there to have fun. So it does get pretty competitive, and I've had quite a few. I actually had a guy named John Jourdain that wrote some books. He's had 500,000 miles, nautical miles at sea. And he's been racing and actually bringing boats back. A lot of people, they'll take their boats out and the crew just wants to go home. And he brings them back, and he was on, and he talked about racing since he was a teenager way, way back when. I think he's in his 70s now. So I've featured people like that. But to let people know that these yacht clubs and racers and people with boats, they're so welcoming. You can walk into any club, and all of a sudden people will take you on their boats. So, that part is really exciting. And reciprocals, if you're a member of a yacht club, and you have reciprocals where you can go anywhere in the world. So that's what I do when I travel. So I've been all over the place.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
As a sports photographer, I've had jobs that I make a point. I was in Cuba at the Havana Miramar Yacht Club. I was in Azerbaijan one time, and of course, my favorite yacht club. Mary, I got to tell you my favorite yacht club. It's called the Quartzsite Yacht Club. and it's a bar and grill on the California-Arizona border. There's a boat out in front. These people that own the place are boaters, but there's no water in sight, and it's just a bar and grill. And they call themselves a yacht club, and they actually have membership in a burgee, and they pretend like they're a yacht club in the middle of the desert where it gets to be, 100-plus degrees.
Wow, that's incredible.
If you're ever passing through, if you're ever going to Arizona, as soon as you pass the border, you get to Courtside, and it's the Courtside Yacht Club, and it's an amazing bar and grill, and you walk inside, and you think you're at a yacht club with all the burgees hanging and the photographs, and they're actually people from all, they've got 10,000 people that are actually members of the yacht club, because people from all over the world, they come to different events in Courtside, and then they join the club because it's fun, and it's like nostalgia. So I'm a member of the Courtside Yacht Club. I like to brag about that. What's
that
your
sounds amazing.
Yeah, what's in the future? Are you going to get a boat of your own and start campaigning? What are your plans for the future?
Oh God, I don't know.
Okay.
I think I want to keep doing what I'm doing, just at a higher level, just get better and better at my careers and better at my sailing, and just very much enjoy every second of it, because it's all so precious. And I feel very, very, very blessed to know the sailors that I have met here that have been teaching me and very patient with me while I learn, and all the people I've met in my career. I'm very honored to be in this part of my life, and just want to keep on going, keep doing all the things I love.
You know what I like about one of the great things about being a boater and going to different clubs and different areas? You can literally walk into a club and someone will take you out sailing, or they'll take you out boating or even fishing. But you can be on the California freeways with road rage and stress from family and jobs. As soon as you pull into any marina, people are smiling, they're waving at you.
It's so true.
You forget about your troubles. That's what I like the best, because it doesn't matter what you do. As soon as you pull into the marina, we forget about all our troubles with what's going on in the world, and it's just so much fun, and people are so happy. And it just really is exciting. Well, Mary, this has been wonderful, and I hope you've encouraged other people, especially women, to get out there and to go sailing and go to clubs and take some of the educational opportunities to learn and get better, because it really is pretty fun to be out there on the boats. You're welcome to come out sailing, dinghy sailing with me, and I have some dinghy. Anytime you want to take one out on your own, you're always welcome to come get my Lido 14, and my club, the Santa Monica Windjammers, has a couple boats that they rent as well, and so do most clubs. But it's been wonderful having you out on a guest. I'm pretty inspired, and I hope I've inspired other people to get out there and start racing.
Honor. Thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate it. And yes, I can't wait to see you on the water very soon.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I wanna put photos. Send me photos so I can put your team up there. And Buccaneer Day, and some great photos will be up on the website, theboatinghour.com. So Mary, this has been fantastic. Say hi to my friend Zane. Tell him I love him to death.
I will. Thank you so much, sir. I shall talk to you soon and see you very soon as well.
And if you're listening to this, get out to Marina del Rey for the Halloween boat parade tonight. Well, that's all the time that we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests. And let's not forget the Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. Remember, if you do it right and follow the guidelines and safety precautions, there's no place like being out in the water in the fresh air and sunshine in beautiful sunny Southern California. Here at the Boating Hour with Captain Rick, we cover everything that sails, motors, and floats from San Diego to Santa Barbara. Thanks for being with us today, and please be sure to join us next week and every Saturday at 4 p.m. on AM 870. Thanks to our sponsor for our show today. For a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy, fair winds to all, and be sure to find us on the web, all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and did I forget one? I think all over social media. Instagram. We're also on Instagram.
There we go.
Like us on Instagram. This is Captain Rick saying happy Halloween, and thanks for joining us today, and thanks to our wonderful guest, Mary.
Thank you.